In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful, the most advanced. So, dear viewers, I feel I feel I've reached a checkpoint in my life. This is feeling very difficult to explain because it's a way I'm being in my inner realms. I feel my thoughts are what I see in my mind, and my feelings are what I am being in my mind. And this is kind of hard to explain because it's just like a quality to my moment. But so I've reached, I've reached 34 years of life. Um, and also, I finished the 2,500th talk. Okay. And I'm noticing something very important. I want to talk about it in this episode, but dear viewers, giving talks online was pretty much I lived for these lectures. It's a checkpoint because I have lived for this Mr. Within project since August 19, 2014. Poetically, the external birth of my alter ego. And guys, I gotta be honest. So let me tell you how many. I'm gonna give you the numbers, and I'll get to the title. So from August 19, 2014 to today, how many? All right, guys. Okay, so I have completed 2,500 talks. I've recorded way more, but I've only managed to upload, and you might not believe this, but like 1,000 talks are like trapped in like old iPhones that kind of their memory became full, and I don't know what to do. what it means that in 4,100, it took me 4,139 days, 11 years and 121 days to give 2,500 talks. Let's consider to present 2,500. So now I'm going to ask it how, like, we're going to multiply this by 4. So I've given about one lecture every day. Point 6, 0.6 lectures a day. So years needed, 45 years. So yeah, we subtract this from so 700, 500 days remaining, years remaining, 34 years. So guys, what it means is at the pace that I have shared these lectures, okay. So guys, this is really before me getting into the lecture, but it's important for me to like communicate this stuff. Okay, so guys, I was born on December 17, 1991. Now this is something many people don't know. So yeah, guys, people don't know I had a SoundCloud page called Mr. Within's Dream, which then I turned was renamed to the Deep Ambient Project. Guys, I was someone who was just legit listening to underground music and like promoting it. So Mr. Within's Dream was the name of that SoundCloud page, right? Now, even before this, okay, even before starting I should have done this yesterday. Yeah, even before starting from 2011 to 12. Like, I think 12 was when it actualized. Yeah. Excuse me. Anyways, sorry guys to continue. Don't worry, the lecture's coming through. So, this is what AI says. Where's the thing? All right, folks. So, all right. So I don't know if the viewers are seeing this, but so guys, that's the reality. There's a life I've had. Sorry guys, the song is very deep, and I just went into a writer's vibe, and it's kind of been like a silent typing episode. However, I don't know. See, we don't know how long. So this is what AI says. Why is it like this? Oh my God. There we go. All right, there we go. So guys, pretty much AI is saying this. So it's taken me, let's say, 11.33 years to complete like 1/4 of it. So overall, that makes sense. 34 years. It's going to take me 34 years to finish these lectures. And this is me not being able to doing them full time, but I've tried to do them as just whenever the inspiration for them was there. So it's going to take me 34 years because I was giving point 0.6 of a lecture, right? Let's say, all right, so I'm going to I'm going to tell you in a better way. So it's going to take me, so 7,500 lectures. So if I give a lecture a day, I need to be on this planet 7,500 more days, okay, which means 20 years. Now, the thing is, me knowing the nature of my mind, I am someone who it's like it's not that multitasking is difficult, but when I truly choose to like comprehend something and like advance my attention on in something or to try to understand it, just like how there's this concept of a master key to like the door, to like all doors or something. Similarly, I feel like every moment there's a master key to like the doors that you find in your attention. I don't know how to explain it, but for me, I have a humanized relationship with myself in front of my eyes. Behind my eyes, I have a humanized relationship, but the world that my inner self finds itself is not a humanized reality. In other words, we can envision abstraction. Like dragons don't exist, but if I ask you, like, imagine a dragon you've probably seen in a movie or something, like, some CGI dragon, right? So, what I'm saying is, you can fathom the non existent behind your eyes. How we can do this cannot be explained through human linearity and through this realization that if life is a film, how can a photograph explain it? Now, that's a very deep question because the only way a photograph can explain it is if it's explaining the true, like the original state of it. You know, like I don't know how to explain that. But anyways, to keep going. So, guys, I need around 20.5 years. If I give a lecture a day, that I need 7,500 days. I need 20 years. So if I just try to somehow make, like, give a lecture every day. Now the issue is I feel that I cannot be in multiple rooms at the same time, right? And I'm at that point in my lifetime where I have to be like, all right, what is more important? Me giving 7,500 lectures and whatever amount of life or attention or my soul and heart that occupies, you know, or I don't know how to explain it. It's pretty much like I've reached that point where I feel like I've reached the checkpoint, and if it had turned differently, if this YouTube channel had solved like my financial, and societal problems, it would have been a different story. I saw, like, when I gave these lectures, I gave them with the vision, with an outcome by now of a different, like, I saw a different parallel reality. But that's the remarkability of life. It astonishes you by showing you that it's not just what you value, or what you consider as a value that is a value in the moment. It is that there are values beyond our understanding. Like, somebody could, like, let's say there's two drunk people at a bar and they want to fight, and they go outside and let's say they physically fight and they injure each other. It's like in that moment, the only value in their minds was like opponent, enemy, my social status is under attack, my amygdala is reacting, and so they kind of like see it as that value. But imagine, or let me even say, why am I saying that? Imagine war. Like Leo Tolstoy had this thing where he's like, the Russian Tsar is saying that God is on our side, and the Japanese leadership is saying that in some sense we are destined, or it's like, truth is on our side, and it's this thing that it's two sides of a coin. Like, this is the savageness of war, because it's honestly a stupid act, because we can resolve the moment in different ways. That means, like, if when there's a soup, like if there's soup and you don't have a spoon, sure, like, drink from the bowl, but if you have a spoon, then you must use that. You must use the advanced, like, deep. I believe every being right now, at least every one of you, has a very advanced way of being aware to reality or to even be. However, this is more in the unconscious, and it is not per se humanized and individual. What the modern world has forgotten, actually, is that what we find ourselves as now is a state. And the human being is that being in nature that can shift its own state regardless of the environment. But we've discovered that it's based on an inner environment. So, anyways, where I'm going with this, guys, is that I don't know. I may give a couple more lectures, but I'm thinking of like to be very conscious now and to be like, okay, man, these 10,000 lectures, their purpose is the betterment of mankind, but they are a format. They're a communication. It's like I'm like, there's 8 billion of us. There's 117 billion humans, considering a 300,000-year-old range, right, that have ever existed. So where each one of us is one in 117 billion humans that have ever existed from a secular perspective, right? And now we're in that moment where I have to, legit, I am in that moment as a soul where I have to be like, did my soul enter this world just to communicate to it, or to, in some sense, just share the inner realms? And I've realized in the future we will be aware of our inner realms. Like what I'm doing now in the future may be unnecessary, or in the future they may be able to access the honest dimension, which means they may be able to access, like see, you guys only get to hear what I'm saying. You don't see like my state, or how I am, or how the moment is, or what I'm going through, or like my, like, you don't see, like, you see what I share with you. That's the nature of speech, right? And the inner realms are too vast to even be able to completely communicate it, right? But I'm telling you that I'm reaching that moment in life where I can totally dedicate my life to these 10,000 talks, and anytime I will have free time, I feel I will. Like like it's after some point of like wondering about the nature of reality every day, it kind of becomes, it's like it's more than a hobby at this point. It's like normal for me. It's normal for me to, I don't know, communicate to my species and say, hey, we're all defining ourselves based on the past, but what is the true presence of the future? Why do we have minds that can envision advancements in civilization, like advanced civilizations, but in front of our eyes we're in just one physical cyclical looping world? It is very strange. That means life at first, see, this is the difference. If you treat everything as real, you've pretty much linked everything together. Do you know? But when, if you look at life and wonder about it as a simulation, then its value system changes. And I've reached that point. I think many people who become religious have this experience where it's like after some point you don't want to know the best thing you know, because the best thing you know is still a conditional projection. That means, like, I believe this will happen to many, like, pretty much it's a state, it's a phase in human life where you will begin to realize something I either consciously or unconsciously failed to realize, but I haven't failed yet. And that is that what is the cost of wondering about that which is beyond the given existential position? I know that for 20 years, I will be 54. So by the age when I'm 54, like these talks, I'm going to be done with this Mr. Within project, right? And people can be like, even if nobody was listening, just for me, if it was important, like just to see if I like, can I do it? Who would I be then? What would it even be like, right? And you might not understand. As a Muslim futurist, there's a part of me that knows that everything that is simulated in a manifest position is like beautiful music being heard. Like, you don't know, for a designer, beautiful design is music. What beautiful design is not designed, just layered with meaning, in the same way animals were just animals before we came up with names for them. You don't understand. The human species accessed a greater state of awareness, and secularly we believe this is because of the prefrontal cortex. And if you treat the human body as a antenna, we became aware of a different field of being able to be active. And people can act strong, mighty. They can act like they have everything figured out, but they can't. Like I've reached a point in my life, and I know that there's people who've lived longer than me, and there are people who are younger than me, and I know that the cultural program shifts. And it's like when you become old, it's like the future generations are speaking a different conceptual language. And for someone who became fascinated by the idea of advanced civilizations, I couldn't ignore. You see, guys, I'm kind of like an advanced state explorer. For me, the most fascinating thing, the moment I realized that intelligence is occurring fashion rather than us being an individualized I am reaching that moment where I have to same energy that is expressing its should it now go and express itself in a selective path. You see, the reason I give these talks and I've always been towards them. Excuse me. All right, I'm going to dive into the talk, guys. There's probably a couple more talks, and then I feel like I got to go participate and live differently and pause these lectures for some time. Maybe in rare moments in time. The lectures, maybe if they're very necessary, we'll find a moment. But I'm understanding that I must now prioritize as if there I was a being that has reached the half like middle of my life. If this is the middle point of my life, with what sort of vision shall the rest continue? All right. Guys, it's been 40 minutes and I still haven't gone into that. All right. Let's just go. So, our beliefs, like photographs of a film like world, To me, a belief is an access point. Sometimes you cannot see this film of life in a greater way unless you've noticed it can be positioned in a greater. For the longest time, I was thinking about like what my environment was doing first. And then I realized the environment is actually the output. Like it's like it's I'm sorry, but in the same way that let me say it this way. The environment is where everybody's expression is like colliding. Civilization right now, you people are not living responsible for civilization. They're living responsible for their own self-stimulated meaning upon reality. But what is the true ontology of the position of human intelligence? And why is it that the children on this planet and the educational system and the culture is conditioning everybody to treat themselves as a noun? That means you're this noun, that person is a good noun, this is a bad noun, that person is a better noun. And it's like we're just living lives that are just like, all right, from which photograph of self do I jump to which next photograph? Do you understand the nature of this world is you're self hopping in accordance to the new information you externally find. Your brain has to be your imagine your brain is a room, but anytime you move, like something's being added in the room, and the brain's like, okay, it's like something's been added. It's very fascinating human psychology because it is not just based on natural conditions. What human history is the retaliation, is legit, like they're seeing it from bottom up, like secular society and religious society sees it from top down. But what really, this is my view of it from a designer's perspective. Like this is what a designer's soul will say. It is not about how intelligence identifies with a position of form in an environment of forms that is ultimately one gigantic shape you can't see. But it is rather realizing that if one mode of life has been to be like a noun, a known noun, that means you've been given a name, you exist as a concept. There's an idea to you, or as you consider, or you're functioning through. They call that the ego, the sense of self you have in the moment. And I'm telling you, if you ask yourself right now, whoever you are listening, just ask yourself, what if the educational system taught the opposite? What would that be like? You know what I'm saying? What would the opposite of the world we were raised in be? I'm not talking about the ethics, I'm talking about the educational system. So the system came and said, "All right, guys, you're a known noun. You're this noun called a student. I'm this noun called a teacher. We're going to look at these nouns inside this book, and each noun is actually an image, but we're not going to tell you. And you're going to go as a child lost in the linguistic simulation, not realizing the linguistic simulation is activated through experiential and visual reality." That means a lot of people's intelligence, I believe, is not, there is no such thing as stupid or smart people, I think it's about the clarity of the antenna, and it's about your ability to, in some sense, how much can you notice the, like, are you more fascinated by the unknown or the known? Like, is what you know really fascinating, or is what you don't know more fascinating to you? When you become a being that when what you don't know becomes fascinating, it enables a moment to be perceived as all right, everybody's acting like a known, conscious, known noun. But what if it is an unconscious, unknown verb? What if it is this whole time we're thinking like, what if in the same moment you have a tree and then you have like the lattice structures and the physics of that, particles of that tree, molecules of that tree, right? So there's that. You see a tree and then you see like, the geometry behind it or as it simultaneously. I'm saying in the same way, I don't know, folks. I'm trying to tell you, like, there's one mode of life where, yeah, I have a name, you have a name. I'm an individual concept, you're an individual concept. And then I'm an individual concept that has a trail of being, has an awareness to the trail of all the different concepts he's been up to being this point. It is about the presence of our awareness. The greatest value is when you discover the kindness of your own soul. This is the mercy of the system and the universe. It is an unknown verb, guys. And if you see life as an unknown verb, it means the 8 billion humans on planet Earth building an advanced civilization is simultaneously, or all natural manifestation in reality is simultaneously, we don't see it, but it's simultaneously being a divine command. Because there is no explanation of position if the position has to exist before there can be a question or doubt. That means existence beat experience conceptually to it. That in some sense, we as humans right now on Earth believe that we exist externally. However, we cannot explain how we are experiencing internally from internal state. What that means is like this whole time they told us, oh my God, cover your eyes, you won't see. Well, guess what? It's like if I tell you close your eyes and remember the food you ate yesterday and imagine like exactly the food when you were eating it, like imagine before you came to eat it, it hovered in there. Like your eyes are closed, you're imagining that. And if I tell you, yo, man, there were no light beams going into your eyes, but you saw something, that is the implication of a more mysterious nature than the physical position. That means it's not enough existence. It's the experiencer to it that notices a known and unknown state that can be fascinated. You don't understand. The most ignorant state of human consciousness is still more enlightened than all the states of consciousness that are not even conscious of duality. Like humans are the first species that has collective consciousness of heaven, right? And we got to realize, like, beliefs are very fascinating because your belief is so important. Belief is like you're filtering the film through a photograph of the past. You see, we're conditioned as beings to be nouns based on all the pictures of the nouns we've been before. But I'm telling you guys, you are not just you. The significance is in the effort, and there is no such thing as like, yo, man, I want to be a leader, a champion of humanity. Let me tell you what it is, guys. You just have to wonder about what's going on sincerely, and you will live an advanced life. To me, the unknown is the thing that's giving life meaning. So this means knowledge can't be the purpose of life. But we are creatures in a field where we identify with knowledge, with the known elements in the system rather than the unknown elements, with the known variables rather than the unknown. Like if I ask you who you are, you have answers to that rather than realizing like it's unknown. So to me, this is equivalent to the most profound spiritual experience. Not only you don't know what's going on, none of us do, and everybody is projecting meaning. In other words, we're co-creating an invisible subjective layer and dimension to life. And because we as the modern, like, we were raised in the linguistic simulation, nature is like that unnatural but fascinating natural discovery. Like, you know how ridiculous it is? It's like I wrote a chapter of this in my sci-fi called The Lost Children of Cyberspace. It's pretty much these children that are born, but their consciousness doesn't know where their biological body is located, and they don't know, but they know they're inside a simulation because they can endlessly stay in that simulation. Like, this is why many people don't realize, like, the countercultural response to immortality or immortalizing technology is the absence of meaning. That's the cost of immortality. Life becomes meaningless. Life can't be exciting. It just you become led to a designer. You don't understand, guys. Many people, I was for some reason insecure and shy and super introverted when I was young. So I had no choice but to just sit in the inner realms. I lived more as an observer than a participant, you know? And for the longest time, I felt like, man, it's like I'm attending an event, but I'm not really here, right? It's like this is how it feels to be shy. It's like I'm existing, but am I really? For me, it's about realizing that without the unknown, life is meaningless. I'm not kidding, guys. Without the unknown, like if everybody knew everything, there would be nothing to know. There would be no need for the concept of knowledge. As a Muslim, for me, the system admin of reality is an unconditional original being. That means it's not like what world is it's in what world is God in. God, by definition, is an unconditional state because it's a creator state. The created state cannot interpret the creator state. This is why prophets are considered as messengers. In the Holy Quran, it says from every species or class, or I don't know how exactly, I'm a visual learner, but it's like from every, like, let's say, field of group intelligence, there will be a member from that group that will be like, how do I say it? Like, it doesn't matter if it's ants, humans, or whatever kind of beings. From their own kind, there will arise one. It's very fascinating to me because we are limited to either we give personal meaning to what's happening in existence, either culture gives a meaning to what's happening to existence, or either like, still language is giving meaning to your existence. But to me, I'm telling you guys, like, I'm starting to notice things more important than giving lectures, right? I in a talk like a while ago, not a while ago, like a couple talks ago, I said something about like, yo, man, from a business perspective, which one's more fascinating? A hot dog stand owner who's been in business 20 years, or somebody who makes a deal in 2 minutes and makes like thousand, like million times more than the other person, the hot dog stand. Which one lived a more advanced business life? Or I shouldn't say business life. The most advanced business perspective was, let's say, the big deal. That would be a most advanced actual state. But the fact of this hot dog stand owner existing in the background, fulfilling a position in existence. You see, they don't give you the honor of it because a civilization that doubts itself, they don't have to worry about its advancement. But it's not they. To me, all human souls, if they were created by God, they have an access to the system admin. And one day you will realize more important than what you think you are is the realization in the presence, in what is the true presence of the awareness you're in. That means they're like, yo, man, like anytime I see anyone who goes towards like spiritual guru or teacher student, like help, like archetype, like teach me or something, I kind of want to like a cartoon, like slap them in the face. I want to slap their ego in the face, and I'm being very poetic, you know. I'm joking, of course, but what I mean by that is that I have realized this is my strategy, and this is just the style of my soul. There will be many that will come and go. The songs of advanced civilization, I'm just like that dude, that person. You know, if this was an army back in the day, I'm that soldier who's just running, already started running towards a direction, and everybody in the army is waiting for like, you know, the command to come. And I'm in some sense being like, guys, if you can truly see what's going on, you don't need leadership. You only need leadership if you cannot understand the presence of it. To me, right now, like to you guys, yeah, I'm a concept, I'm this idea, I'm this person who calling himself Mr. Within in cyberspace. But to me, do you know how I experience myself? Nobody asks that. It's so strange. I thought like the stuff I'm talking about is so uncommon. There would be many questions on it, but maybe some people are just listening to rhythm. But whatever it is, our heart is endlessly beating for something. We are alive for a reason, potentially beyond our understanding. We don't know how long we will be here. We don't know what will happen. I truly do not know what the system admin uh, wants to see truly. I know that the most honorable, noble act of worship is to realize if God is the most advanced state, and if from the most advanced state we were created, we are creations of the most advanced state, then there is a very advanced potential within us. And we are waiting for a species to activate and for the era of the advanced humanity to truly begin. As the momentum builds up, you're going to see the cultural pro people are going to get bored of being nationalistic entities. They're going to be bored of living and playing out a cultural program. They're going to discover, everybody on earth is going to discover everything is like rooms of like that have their own language. I'm not even kidding. It's like there is like some people, like there was a time when I was younger where I was self-conscious, but after some point I was like nobody really knows where all of it is going. They're all participating, but it's clear to me That what I term the civilization 1.0, this civilization we're in right now is a civilization that has conditioned the citizens to value themselves individually rather than what they can do together. I have seen on YouTube so many lectures of these professors, like one, uh, like Oxford Union debates on like capitalism or the other alternative to capitalism, you know. And to me, it's very fascinating that they never say, guys, what is more important? Identifying that we're a species on a rock in the middle of nowhere, we have a capacity to believe in common or shared reality, meaning that we have an ability to keep the world stationary. To have a belief means that you have discovered a value through a certain assignment, right? You have discovered a value that cannot replace the other values. This happens in life. For me, like discovering that I have, like discovering Plato's World of Forms or Olam al Mithal was like an access point, you know, realizing that my whole life I've been focusing, like we're like biologically designed to be obsessed with ourselves to survive, but psychologically we don't have to be obsessed with ourselves. And if we are not obsessed with the idea of ourselves, we'll realize it was like all that attention that was going on, thinking like, man, what should I do, what's wrong with me? It's like sometimes think about what's wrong with the world and begin realizing all the uncharted, undiscovered views to it. People don't understand. Life is something to be grateful for psychologically. Why? Because how exciting that anything exists at all. How exciting that there's something moving in a sophisticated way in the middle of in this space. And in some sense, what is the true nature of what's actually happening here? What's moving? To me, this question surpasses conditional context. We're in the presence of an unconditional field of activity. We're in the original. We're in the presence. Like, do you understand the causal position has never changed? We are the simulated ones, and as the simulated ones, what is the approach? And this is something that I'm trying to emphasize more. I call it Mr. Within's box. It's a very powerful analogy that I use to explain all human ideology. People are going to be like, "What do you mean?" To me, it is about the true attention of the moment. If I have to communicate the moment, I got to communicate it through nouns like pictures and speak fast to kind of be like, all right, this is the conceptual film. I need to go master different dimensions of my reality, folks. Until this channel grows. It's like I'm realizing it might take longer for this tree to grow. But may God bless it to me. There's my like I always like how do I say it? After some point I have this view that I can have any opinion on anything as a singularized awareness to a dualistic condition that can also having an access to the, let's say, a fourth dimension of time, which means that comparing two moments in an unknown space in a known way called time. Plato called the moving image of eternity. That means time is based on the change that occurs in the space. Life is not a photograph, it is a film, and you have a role to play. But the fascinating thing is, you don't know your role, but the creator of this system does. And many people say life is a school. I am telling you guys, it is a grand event. It is legit the most important event of your life. How you're alive right now and the potential you truly have. Because to me, people are like antennas and they're actualizing their clearest signal. That means, like, I understand it can't just be humanized perception and this expectation that I have to understand everything that I'm standing under. It is on some level the nature of the world that it is a position at all. To me, I feel legit like I logged into like this game of life and I'm a specific character with specific character customizations, but I don't know who customized my character. Like, I don't know what truly has influenced me to be me now. And even as I give these lectures, I'm more convinced that I'm just aware or present in a field of activity. That means that you're listening to someone who very early on in his life realized that I am present before I am anything else because there was no choice. Because the nature of reality is that we exist. Existence is a photograph. Experience of existence is a film. Therefore, existence cannot explain existence. We need the experiential component. Now, can conscious experience explain conscious experience? And I believe the answer is no, and that's why the soul is unknown. But anyways, folks, I don't know what else I can say. Our beliefs like photographs of a film like world. I feel like these photographs are also like doorways. A belief is like an approach. I honestly believe that. Why? Because it's an approach to the contextual value system. That means if, let's say, somebody comes and says, I believe, like, I know you from a past life. Like, imagine somebody comes and there has been a person who said that to me, you know? And in my mind, like, I ask from what context of time? Because how do you know I identify as a being in time? How do you know if what I am right now is not just the tip of the iceberg of what I truly am as a being, as we all are as a being? And it's like they're trying to see, it's like I knew the tip of the iceberg, in this life from another past life's tip of the iceberg. The true nature of reality is unknown. And my understanding has been like if somebody was like, all right, what are like what's your review? Like, see, I'm one in 117 billion and 8 billion, 8.1 current billion, like, like alive humans. So I am in this moment where I am existing in her history. I'm being the live stream of history. I'm trying to I'm just reporting back to our species like, hey guys, yeah, in front of our eyes, there's fixed conditional physical states, but the awareness to physicality is not physical in nature. It is more like you are not just your body, you're the awareness, you're your whole moment of awareness. The body is what you find in it, just like the world, just like your thoughts. That means if they tell me, are your thoughts true? No, they're not the truth. If they're like, is the world the truth? I'll be like, no, the world is not the truth. If they say it's the self the truth, I'll be like, no. If they're like, God is the truth, I'll be like, if you believe God is an unconditional state, no condition can refer to it, that's yes. Because you see, guys, it is a simulation, but it is massive simulation inside simulation inside simulation. Like my biological body, it has like, let's say, a certain simulated time here. My mind and the thoughts and the attention to reality and really the roles, the true role, like for me, the purpose of my life is really to discover the divine command, like how my soul was commanded by the system admin to exist. I'm trying to discover my original command, and I feel I've realized the original command is that the command is from beyond the individual position. Therefore, after some point of living in this life, one has to wonder about, wait a minute, I'm being individual because I'm separating myself from everything else. But if I don't separate myself from everything else, everything is like a collective event. So we're all attending the most important event of our lives, which is literally our lives, right? And Mr. Within and this whole archetype of me talking about advanced civilizations, I'm like, guys, what do we do here on this planet? Right? In front of our eyes, external public server where we're all standing. Behind our eyes, internal private server, everybody has different DNA and different experience of how they're standing behind their eyes, regardless of how much of what they truly are they can communicate, because you can never communicate to it fully. The issue is the belief that language can replace reality, but it's not about the language. The language is came into being to point to a reality, direct reality. So for me, it's about like, okay, it's not about what I believe in or what's the proper equation to like equate life to. It's just like, all right, what am I in the presence of from the moment I wake up? I am in the presence of, I am aware of the nature of reality. The true presence of reality is an unconditional state. Therefore, it's kind of like, what's the point of being a conditional entity in a world where you can't see its edge of the conditions? So the system has not been designed for me to understand all conditions. It's impossible. But because I'm a conditional being in a gigantic, colossal world beyond my understanding, I have a role. So the clue is like, okay, why am I being human right now? Why do we have mouths and ears? Why does God bless those, the health of the kind heart? Because on some level, there is a point where you got to ask yourself what's important, and you'll come up with a hierarchy. If you don't even have an hierarchy for what's important, that means you haven't cared to look through life as a self. People are like, yo, artificial intelligence is bad. I'm like, guys, how do you know it's not going to help us discover true intelligence? To me, you might not believe it, but the fascination of this world is that not only is every idea I've ever had been simultaneous to state of like my consciousness, state of being, but the fact that there's anything here at all is so fascinating. I think you don't understand. It's like, I think the closest experience back in the day to paradise was the realization like, wait a minute, I can notice beyond the context of the environment that has conditioned me to only notice it. To me, it's about the most advanced state. We're all seeking it, but the most advanced state is an original state of being. We're all simulated. So at least a simulated purpose of mankind is in there's a phrase, I don't remember the exact surah, but I'm a visual learner, and it's so beautiful. God says, I have created mankind and jinn kind for the sole purpose of worshiping me. And I was like, whoa, the system admin created us, which means simulated us, right? So we can pay attention to the original, and everything inevitably returns to the original. Life is about, in simulated conditions, Can the original awareness notice itself? Smile, for once you are in the presence of God, you're in a presence of a field, you're in the presence of a being that is all knowing. That means everything. Like I might not understand the purpose of my life, you know. I might not understand why I've contributed like 11, 0.33 years of my life to like conceptual expansion of the human horizons of perception. But at some point, I feel like, honestly, death for the body I can understand, but for the mind I can't understand death. The mind has only ever known discovering higher values in unknown. That means they're like, hey man, are you like, do you realize you're in a world where everybody dies? And the person's like, I realize I'm in a world where my body dies, but my mind, that's that soul or that intelligence that is looking through my eyes, it will meet its creator. That means, like, it's kind of like, honestly, like, what is unknown now will be consciously known. And to be honest, I think what's remarkable and fascinating about this reality is, like, a person can give a value to something, but at the end of it, and even in the afterlife or in whatever, it might be revalued. And who knows? But it's fascinating to get to witness what your own existence and existence consciously as the experiencer logging in and out all the time is like. Anyways, thank you for listening. And life is more an unknown verb, an unknown film, rather than, a known noun, or a photograph that you're looking at a wall that only you have held up for yourself. Oh, humanity, we just realized it was an unknown place, and then we started telling stories. And now, from a state of believing the stories to be more real than the reality, we are rediscovering the reality, the original presence of the system admin. It's equivalent, even for a secular person, to seek the original power source of this simulated reality. Anyways, thank you for listening. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful, the most advanced, God truly knows. But if there's one thing you truly hear from me, it is okay to sincerely honor the most advanced state of being. That means for a Muslim, the purpose of the soul is to get close to God, which is another way of saying that to get near to an intelligent truth, you must wonder about why you're aware, why your intelligence is aware of even truth right now in this way. Become fascinated by your position and you will understand the human game. Thank you for listening. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds. May the most advanced forgive the human species and guide the human species towards its most advanced expression. For we can look down on ourselves, and culture can even amplify that. But we were created by the highest. There is a part of us that belongs to the original, and it will return to the original. And the original is unconditional, which is another way of saying no shape or form can be your master when reality is present beyond shape. God willing, may the most advanced human civilization effort in the cosmos occur. And they're like, how was humanity so advanced? Because we became conscious of the original advanced power. that life, the most humans cannot know what's best for them because they have an ability to look at reality through infinite viewpoints. We require a higher agency, and our higher agency has been discovered. That is the value of the prophets, reminding reality you're not just just shape and change. You're present in the most important moment of your being as a conditional entity inside a box. You must wonder about what is beyond the box and why you're in it. And this gives meaning to life. Being able to look at your own moment differently, to realize in the same way you thought that reality had to have a certain meaning, it could have had any meaning. So, where should the meaning come from? And this is where the ego stops and the higher power is witnessed, and you start functioning simply until your true awareness to reality allows you to characterize. Trust, have faith in the world. And even if you can't have faith in the world, have faith in the original creator causal state that has never moved. That means they're like, hey, is life a simulation? Yes. But is where life is a simulation? No, it's in the original presence of it. You are in the presence of the most advanced being, being a simulated being for some time. Do not fear the most advanced. Wonder about the most advanced behold. Eventually, you will realize the most advanced state is not just self responsibility or family responsibility or national responsibility or species level responsibility beyond nationalism, and then earth kind level responsibility, and eventually a responsibility to stand truly in the presence of whatever truth there is, and whatever truth there is truly beyond us, and it is graceful. That is the blessing. It's like smile before you need to, and the soul of the moment, the moment lives different. Your intentions matter, where your attention goes matters. Wonder about the most advanced, because whether you know it or not, living for the future self you're living for is more advanced. We're all living for the most advanced. Now it's time to collectively, consciously do it rather than identifying with chunks of land, identifying with the true presence with the human species, the era of having honor for your species, seeing everybody. It's like every person you talk to, you're talking to their most advanced state, and you're saying whatever you're saying to them, you're saying it in the most advanced world, in the presence of the most advanced power. We are not the most advanced, and realizing that is what actually makes you advanced and advanced. Anyways, thank you for listening. God knows best. However, this moment exists as well. Thank you for listening. This one line, I'm on. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful, the most steadfast.